New on NFL Live, Adam Schefter with this. The 49ers have placed wide receivers Brandon Ayuk and Ricky Pearsall on the physically unable to perform list. Ayuk tore his ACL and his MCL in Week 7 last season. Pearsall was dealing with a hamstring injury during spring workouts. Tons of news this week means one thing. Training camp is near, so we're going to get you caught up on anything you may have missed, starting in Minnesota, where wide receiver Justin Jefferson had this to say about his quarterback, J.J. McCarthy.
I think now he's just, becoming more confident, more settled in, I would like to say, as his teammate and, just as a captain of the team, just trying to, just make him dialed in every chance that I can. And our lockers are right next to each other. So every chance that I get to talk to him about, football, about anything that goes on outside of football, just try to get to know him as much as I can. Because, when the season comes and whenever we're locked in, I want him to be just as confident as I am of him to make the plays out there.
Some big bro, little bro relationship coming into form there in Minnesota. Acho, what do you hear from number 18?
I hear leadership. I mean, that's what you want. If you're a quarterback, especially a young quarterback, you don't want all that pressure on you. You want a person who believes you, and not just any person. This is one of the, if not the best wide receiver in the entire NFL. And oh, by the way, this is going to be the guy who's going to help you bring the success to your team that you want. So if I'm Justin Jefferson, of course you're saying the right things, but he's also following the actual example. He's not just talking about it, he's living it. So it's like, hey, man, if I'm double covered, triple covered, give me the rock and I will help make you right. I love what I hear from Justin Jefferson.
Jets, one of the best in the NFL, averaging nearly 97 receiving yards per game in his career, which is the best in NFL history among those to play 50 games. J.J. McCarthy walking into a very good situation in Minnesota. In case you missed it, some positive news coming out of Indianapolis with an injury update on quarterback Anthony Richardson's shoulder. Our Colts reporter, Stephen Holder, reporting that Richardson is, quote, believed to have recovered from his recent right shoulder setback as the team prepares to report to training camp next week. Important to note here, the Colts have not had a chance to personally evaluate Richardson, according to Holder, because players have been on their summer breaks. That will happen when Richardson returns to Indy for camp. Jeremy Fowler, what are the Colts' plans when Richardson returns to Indianapolis?
According to the Colts, have a plan. My sense is that plan involves resting him a little bit during that first week. He'll still throw, but be limited, and then he'll be full go after that, ready for that quarterback competition with Daniel Jones. I'm hearing that Richardson has looked good throughout the summer. He's throwing with authority, so there are no issues there. The Colts just want to make sure that they're cautious with him, at least early on.
In case you missed it, the last installment of Jeremy Fowler's position rankings was published yesterday, a series of execs, coaches, scouts, which ranked the top 10 cornerbacks entering 2025. Pat Surtain, the reigning defensive player of the year, sits at number 1 for a second straight season, but new to the top is Derek Stingley Jr., who was 10th in 2024. Denzel Ward, who was second last year, moves back 1 spot to number 3. And new to the list, Quinyon Mitchell, who was a part of the Eagles' Super Bowl 59 win as a rookie. He checks in here at number 9. RC, taking a look at this list, what stands out the most?
Well, I mean, the first thing is I do think Devin Witherspoon should be higher, but it's no Jalen Ramsey, like not nowhere at all. This is a guy who has been at the top of these lists for so many years in his career. He didn't have the best of times in Miami, and so now becoming a Pittsburgh Steelers, what does that mean for Jalen Ramsey? Can he still be that number 1? Will he be big in the slot, or could there be a move to the safety position as he could be utilized as this chess piece all over that defense for Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers? I'm interested in seeing where he fits or how he plays this year, and could we see his name back on this list next summer?
Some of our top stories across the league, starting with another player waiting on a new contract. Jeremy, what more can you tell us about where things stand between the Commanders and Terry McLaurin?
Well, Terry McLaurin, Courtney, remains frustrated. They have not had meaningful conversations on a deal in a while. I checked with Washington. They have no plans to trade Terry McLaurin. They do want him there long term. The question is, are they willing to meet this market that's gotten crazy where players are making $30+ million a year at the receiver position? My sense is they're just not even close to that there, and McLaurin senses that, which is why he's speaking out publicly. So they have a big gap. they got to try to fill here. But it looks like he's going to be a Commander regardless. They got to try to shake this out here soon. Then you got Rashee Rice. So now that his legal problems are past, the suspension does loom. The Chiefs are bracing for that. Should be multiple games, depending on who you talk to with the Chiefs. I think it could be 3 or 5. You know, they're trying to figure that out. The clarity, though, will come from the league. I don't think there's an imminent decision yet. But meanwhile, he's been trending really well off of that knee injury he had last year. He's been moving well. He's getting his strength back. So he should be a participant in training camp at some point. They're really excited to get all 3 of the receivers healthy on the field at the same time, but they might have to wait for that.
RC, how big of a hit do you expect the Chiefs offense to take if Rashee Rice does have to miss some time this season?
Well, he is going to miss some time, but I don't necessarily think it's a huge hit. We've seen this team play an entire season without Rashee Rice when they weren't expecting to lose him. And we watched a guy like Xavier Worthy become a huge impact player, and they found a way to utilize him in a way that wasn't just about going to deep ball, but implementing him in the offense and catching runs and opportunities in one-on-one matchups. And we saw him play like a first rounder. And so it's going to be about who they become once they get Rashee Rice back, once you can implement him in the same way we saw him during their Super Bowl run. And so I love the fact that they played without him last year. They understand they won't have him early on in the season, but throughout training camp, they could be working on ways they'll implement him once he returns, and that's going to be big for Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense.
It'll be big for Patrick Mahomes, but it won't be as big as I think we're all saying. Why? This Kansas City Chiefs offense doesn't really revolve around 1, 2, or 3 star receivers. It's really a receiver by committee approach. And so whether it's Rashee Rice being available or unavailable, Hollywood Brown being available or unavailable, all of a sudden this team is still going 15-2 no matter who's on the field. It revolves around Travis Kelce. It revolves around Patrick Mahomes. It revolves around that defense. And then when they need to, the running game. And so no matter how long Rashee Rice is out, this team is still going to be who they are, who they were, which is a team that still finds success no matter who lines up at wide receiver.
All right, so ESPN Analytics predicting the Chiefs are going to go 4-2 over their first 6 games of the season. They've got the Chargers, the Philadelphia Eagles, Baltimore, and Detroit all coming to Arrowhead. Common theme there, all playoff teams from a year ago. Let's head west to Cleveland, where training camp begins today for Browns rookies with a quarterback battle front and center and a chance for some fresh faces to make an early statement. Defensive tackle Mason Graham, the Browns' first-round pick, walking into the building today. And speaking of that QB competition, there's Dylan Gabriel. So the Browns have had their fair share of quarterbacks over the years, so stop me if you've heard this before. They have fielded a total of 40 since returning to the NFL in 1999, the most in the league. Only 3 of those 40 QBs have a winning record as a starter, including 40-year-old Joe Flacco, who is set for his second stint in Cleveland this season. Jeremy, what more can you tell us about the Browns quarterback battle as camp begins?
Yeah, Courtney, here's how this is going to go down. The first week or 2 of training camp, I expect the Browns to run it similarly to the spring, OTAs and mini camp, where all 4 quarterbacks, the 2 rookies, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, trading blows, getting a lot of different throws, working on opposite fields, first team, second team, third team. You're going to see all that. And then Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, will crystallize the pecking order. I do expect Joe Flacco to be in the mix there. He's certainly the incumbent, probably the favorite at this point. And Shedeur Sanders did impress in the spring. Like, he was willing to throw the ball in tight windows. He was accurate. But when you ask people with Cleveland, they do bring some caution there. We're like, look, he was working against the third team a lot, not much of a pass rush. He's got a ways to go, and so that will probably show early on in camp.
RC, how important is it for these rookies to get acclimated with the offense in training camp?
Well, first off, guys, I think I can hear you, Courtney, but right behind me, UFC 318, they're having soundtrack for the weigh-ins, and I don't know what the hell we're talking about, but I think we're talking about Cleveland, so here's what I got. They got to figure out how they're going to tier these repetitions. Jeremy talked about the first 2 weeks, right? To me, it should be a battle of the first 2 weeks. Who's the best old guy? Is it Joe Flacco? Is it Kenny Pickett? Now let's figure out who's the young guy that we expect could be able to take reps this year. And once you figure that out, that's the way you have to move forward to me. I don't expect either of these rookies to be the day one starter, but I expect them to get reps at some point. So Kevin Stefanski needs to figure out early on, if If Kenny Pickett's going to be our day one, let's get him the reps to be ready. But whichever one of these rookies seems more ready to play in his first year, let's make sure he's prepared to be the backup.
Yeah, I do have concerns, though. If you figure out if that old guy's going to be number one, let's say it is Joe Flacco, and let's say Joe Flacco early on isn't moving. Let's say he's moving like an old guy. Let's say he's unable to move in the pocket. All of a sudden, you're losing early, week 1, week 2. If a guy like Shedeur Sanders, who is a quarterback who talks about rhythm and timing, he's not necessarily elusive per se, but he fits in Kevin Stefanski's scheme. If he improves, I think he should get a legitimate shot to be the starter. Will it happen? No, I don't think it'll happen because it's the preseason. You're going against 2s and 3s, as we said. But if he can put enough pressure on the coaching staff and on his teammates to show everyone that he should be the legitimate starter, it may not happen week 1, but early in the season, if one of the older quarterbacks is not producing, I believe that a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders, who fits this scheme, should get an early opportunity.
So RC said that he doesn't anticipate any of the rookie quarterbacks starting early this season. The last time that a quarterback drafted as late as Shedeur Sanders started a season opener for the Browns was Randy Hedberg in 1977.